Hello, and welcome to another episode of Crossing Bridges Talk Show. I'm your host, Larry Montgomery Sr. This is my co host, Will. Will, introduce yourself.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm William Montgomery, and it's a pleasure to be here.
Now, this week we want to, part two, about marriage. We talked about it a little bit last week, what the Bible says about marriage. We gave some pointers as to what the keys are to a good marriage. And then we talked at the end about the role of the husband and the role of the wife. But we really didn't dig into it. And so this week we wanted to kind of dig into it a little more and pull out some of those nuggets and impress upon our listeners that some areas that we should have talked a little more about are important. So let's get started here. I did want to point out that, as my co-host had suggested, um, I have written a book, a biblical guide on marriage, and the title is "The Biblical Guide to Quenching a Fiery Tongue and Managing Your Spoken Word Count." And that's by me, Minister Larry Montgomery Sr. And it's available on Amazon.com, and it's also available on my website, the Author's Corner online. Okay,
Okay.
we'll talk more about that a little later. But let's quickly give an overview of the topic. Marriage is the joining together of a man and a woman in a special union. This union has both legal and social importance, and that forms the basis for a family. Marriage is not a practice that people thought up on their own. God began it with the first man and woman. When God told Adam and Eve that a man should leave his parents and come together with a woman as one flesh, and that you can find that in Genesis 2:24, he was describing marriage. Thus, while it is not necessarily God's will that each and every person should get married, he approves of marriage in general. It is part of his design for human beings. Now, in Genesis 2:20, and I'm going from the King James Version, and Adam gave names to all cattle, and to the fowl of the air, and to every beast of the field. But for Adam there was not found a helpmate for him. And the Lord God caused a deep sleep to fall upon Adam, and he slept. And he took one of his ribs, and closed up the flesh instead thereof. And the rib which the Lord had taken from man made he a woman, and brought her unto the man. Verse 23. And Adam said, This is now bone of my bones, and flesh of my flesh. She shall be called woman, because she was taken out of man. And so that's where we start when we start talking about marriage, which is interesting. And I want to just take a second there, is that God at that particular time, at that moment in time, was not talking about Adam and Eve being married. That was already understood. He had already married them. He was talking about marriage from the perspective of their children. When their children come, it's a good thing for them to be married. So, from the male perspective, because the male should not be alone. Okay, so and obviously he confirmed it. Excuse me. When he decided that it was important for man to have a mate, you see, because God in the Garden of Eden, after he had created man, he didn't do whatever he wanted to do. You know, man had no choice. I'm here. I'm living. I'm trying to understand what's going on, and all that's going on. And, every day God comes, we walk and we talk about stuff. I have no clue. None. Never was here before. I have no one to talk to refer me to what happened the days before I got here.
Hmm.
So all I know is what God is telling me, and what He's showing me. And so God, being God, He's not just looking at what's happening at this moment in time. He sees everything at one time, the beginning and the end. So when you have a conversation with God, you got to understand, you might not necessarily understand what He's talking about. You might have to wait for it to be revealed to you to get a full understanding, and you may not get the full understanding then. But let me go on. I want to go 5 reasons why marriage is so important. I think we talked about that, but I want to give a little more on it this week. Here are 5 reasons that explain the importance of marriage. 1. Beginning. Marriage is the beginning of the family, and is a lifelong commitment. Marriage is the beginning of the family, and is a lifelong commitment. I just said that, I'm sorry. It also provides an opportunity to grow in selflessness as you serve your wife and children. Now, we're talking about this from the male's perspective. Obviously, father and son, we're talking about encouraging fatherhood and fathership. And so when we talk about marriage, we want you to understand that it provides an opportunity to grow. Because if you haven't, even if you've been married before and it didn't work out, something was lacking. Something got glossed over, something got missed. So marriage is giving you an opportunity to grow. Marriage is more than a physical union. It is also a spiritual and an emotional union. This union mirrors the one between God and His church. Number 2, oneness. When a man and woman get married, the two become one. Marriage is a bond like no other. It gives us a life partner, a teammate, as we move through the challenges of life together. Number 3, and I'm going to stop after the end and me and Will can talk. Purity. Marriage is designed to purify. We face temptation nearly every minute and from all directions. The bond of marriage gives us the support to defeat temptation by engaging in deep, satisfying love, a love that gives to and receives from our mate physically, emotionally, and spiritually. Number 4, parenting. When a marriage produces a child or receives a child through adoption, it is one of life's greatest blessings. Roughly, and this is one of the tenets, one of the reasons why we do this show, roughly 40% of children being raised today are in homes without a father. The effects of that fact are staggering. Father absence causes increases in mental and behavioral disorders, as well as criminal activity and substance abuse. But when children are raised in a healthy marriage, they get a front row seat to see and experience the lasting benefits of a strong family. Finally, number 5, marriage is designed to mirror our Creator's unconditional love for us. Unconditional love. It is a love that will always be there and will never leave us or forsake us. When a man and a woman love one another unconditionally, contentment and joy follow. So now those are the 5 keys.
Hmm.
Did you want to add something, Will?
I mean, like I said, I agree 100% because, like I said, one of the things that you mentioned before you went through the list was also that, you know, the man, is in service of the wife and the child. A lot of people think that, well, I'm married, everybody got to take care of me. I'm the father or I'm the leader of the household, but you're in a leadership position. You're there to also lead and guide, protect. Um, they're not just there for you. They're not like, showpieces and stuff like that. Well, hey, I got a wife, I got a kid, and there's, you don't have nothing else to do. You have some work to do. What I'm saying? It's not a easy job, but it's a very rewarding job. So, but you gotta be prepared for it mentally and emotionally and spiritually because it can be, draining. But you have to be ready for their work and you have to do it.
Well, the thing is that you commit to this relationship under these circumstances, and you may not necessarily be prepared,
Hmm.
but there are elements available to you that you need to look to. For example, obviously, and we'll talk about this in a minute, um, the male, the father, the husband, should have a relationship with God. They should understand that relationship. And now we take it to the next step. The woman, she should be able to rely on the fact that you, as the husband, have a relationship with God. You're committed to that. And if you can commit to Him, He would have you commit to her. And so, yes, it's upon you to commit and submit. Now, all right. So you come to you come to marriage, and you don't have a college degree. Okay, right.
Hmm.
You got a high school diploma. You got something to work with. And so you lean on God in order to give you that information that you need to make those decisions from the college level. And if you trust in God, He will help you. He will take you where He will. He may not say to you, "Look, do this." He may just say to your wife, "Tell him this," or point to this for him. And when he sees that, I'll open up his mind, and he'll get the point. However he wants to do it, he'll do it. There's no book that says do this in this situation. Okay, the Bible is available, and it talks about people going through different situations. Not every situation,
Hmm.
but certain situations, and it shows how God led them to get to the point of where, okay, now it works. This is where I want you to be. You're now doing the right thing. You didn't do it in the beginning, and I'm not going to fault you on that. I helped you get there. Now you're there, and so if you're committed, then you'll be fine because you'll do what you understand now is the right thing to do.
Hmm.
So let me go on here. Unless you had something else you want to say.
Oh, no, let's go on.
Okay. Let's see. What kind of a relationship should a marriage be? In Genesis 2:18, the Lord God said, "It is not good for the man to be alone. I will make a companion who will help him." Ecclesiastics 4:9 to 12. Two people can accomplish more than twice as much as one. If one person falls, the other can reach out and help. We go to Corinthians, 1 Corinthians 11 and 3. There is one thing I want you to know. A man is responsible to Christ. A woman is responsible to her husband. And Christ is responsible to God. Did you get that one?
Hmm.
Okay. A man's responsible to Christ. A woman is responsible to her husband. And Christ is responsible to God. As we all have heard, you can't get to the Father unless you come through Christ. All right. Matthew 19:4 and 6. Haven't you read the scriptures? Jesus replied, the record that No. They record that from the beginning, God made them male and female. And he said, this explains why a man leaves his father and mother and is joined to his wife, and the two are united into one, since they are no longer two, but one.
Mm-hmm.
Let no one separate them, for God has joined them together. Marriage at its best is a relationship so close and intimate that the two of you work together as one. It involves mutual trust, mutual support, mutual defense, mutual comfort, mutual vulnerability, and mutual responsibility. Let's go over that one more time. It involves mutual trust. I trust you, you trust me. Mutual support. If I'm down, I need you to help me up. If you're down, it's my job, my obligation to help you up. Mutual defense. I got your back, you got mine. Mutual comfort. If you're hurting, I'm here for you. I'm going to do everything I can to make you comfortable. And I would expect that same shoe to be on the other foot when the shoe was on the other foot.
Mm-hmm.
Mutual vulnerability. I can be open and honest with you. I can literally just tell you the truth, and it's okay. You know, Mutual responsibility. We're both responsible to each other. I can't come in here and say, look, every week, I'm working every day and I'm working hard and I'm bringing the money in, and then when I'm not able to bring the money in, we still responsible. So and I have to tell you, in my own household, I've experienced that. Um, that it was hard for me. Sometimes it was hard for me to get a job. You know, out there looking, have certain skills or whatever. They ain't hiring, or they wouldn't hire me. What are you gonna do? For whatever reason, I know I've applied for jobs when I was in banking near the end of my career, and I have more skills than the person who was trying to hire me.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, we can't use you. You're overqualified. Really? Is that how it works?
Mm-hmm.
So, my wife was the breadwinner. I'd stay home, you know, cook, clean, shovel the snow, gas the cars, pick up the mail, shop. I'm the house husband,
Mm-hmm.
and yeah, it was a change in the mentality that from a male perspective, I'm saying, look, I'm not holding up my end of the stick. God, I mean, help me out here. Well, no, I'm not going to take a job, you know, picking up bottles, for nickels. But, I mean, that would probably be a problem. So you pray, 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 pray. God, God, He hears you. And He said, that's not for you. Right now, it's her turn to be in the spotlight. It's her turn for me to show her what she can do.
Mm-hmm.
She's just as strong as you are. I mean, I'm not talking about physically, but as far as the mental, and more importantly, as we're talking about marriage here, she's just as strong from a spiritual and emotional standpoint, and she may not necessarily know how strong she is. So God's dealing with her, and He's dealing with me. He's saying, you got to wait. And I'm not trying to hear anything else. You can keep praying all you want, but you're going to wait until I say, there's a change for you.
Mm-hmm.
And so, there were days that she looked and said, look, hey, this ain't like I wanted. I thought I'd be, on the pedestal and everything was good. I said, well, yeah, babe, that was the plan, but obviously it wasn't the only plan, because He had a different plan. And so, yeah, these lessons, if anything I can do is to share that lesson with someone else and say, yeah, if you find yourself in that particular position, it may not necessarily be something that you could earnestly do something about it. No
Mhm.
matter how hard you tried and how much you wanted, it just may be what God had for you. You know, you got one thing to do. I gave you one job. Don't screw that up, okay? All right, let me go on here and see what else I got. Um, let's see, what are the keys to a happy and strong marriage? And I think I have 7 of them here. Let me get to that. Commitment is a key to a good marriage. You have to be committed. That means earnestly, I just can't throw in the towel and walk away,
Mhm.
even though I might want to, even though I don't see any way out. I can't do this anymore. You know, I said I asked for it. You got it.
Mhm.
Stick with it. He'll work it out for you. Sacrifice is a key to a good marriage. Meaning that, oh, what do you mean I can't sit around and watch Super Bowl every day? No, you can't. There's other things that you need to do.
Mhm.
And so, you know, get over yourself. Understanding each other's differences and celebrating them are keys to a good marriage. Meaning that, you're a man, she's a woman, you're different. She's who she is, you are who you are, you're different. You like mechanics, she likes to talk, you're different. And we go down the list forever. You're still different, you're 2 different people, but it's your responsibility to be understanding of those differences and to appreciate, to celebrate them. Yeah, yeah, I don't have a problem building a house. You know, she might have a problem doing it. She might want to just be on the phone. Okay, she likes to be on the phone. I like to build houses. Whatever. Mutual submission is a key to a good marriage. Now, this one is requires just a little thought here. Mutual submission, meaning that I got to give in, even if I'm dead right. I got to figure, well, look, the best way to do this is what they say, a happy wife, a happy life type of a thing. You know, that doesn't mean lose your mind.
Mhm.
That means figure out, well, how can we make this work together? She doesn't walk away and feel that, oh, he's just in control and I have no say so or whatever. No, let's figure this out. You know, sometimes I got to give, sometimes you got to give. You know, next key, love is a key to a good marriage. You got to love them. Now, if you didn't love them in the first place, you was just in lust, you shouldn't have got married
Mhm.
because lust will wane.
Mhm.
Okay? It happens.
Mhm.
Communications is a key to a good marriage. Yeah, you got to understand that sometimes you're speaking English and she's speaking French. And then sometimes you're speaking French and she's speaking English.
Mhm.
You got to figure it out and say, oh, look, let's help me understand what you're saying and what you mean, and let me be clear in what I'm saying and what I mean. You got to communicate. And again, we go back to one of the points made earlier. You got to be vulnerable. You got to be able to say, look, I don't know this. I don't understand that. I can't hear you. Whatever it is, help me out so we can work together.
Mhm.
A constant desire to build each other up, enhance each other's value is a key to a good marriage. Whatever, and this is where a lot of people fall apart at. They don't understand how important it is to encourage their partner and how to build them up. Sometimes may be wrong and dead wrong, but look, okay, you really don't know anything about repairing cars. I really don't. I can change a battery, I can put gas in it, you know, change the oil, not the filter, you know, fix a flat, you know, not a brake. So
Hmm.
there's some things I can do, some things I can't do. Um, and so if the car breaks down, I would feel good. She says, "Oh, well, the car broke down, but I know if the problem was it needed gas, you would be the first one to fix that problem.
Hmm.
Air conditioning, not so much. So, but okay, so I
Hmm.
can feel good. Well, I can put gas in the car. I just don't do air conditioning.
Hmm.
Uh, okay, and the last item. Oh, no, before I get there, as I was saying, a constant desire to build each other up, enhance each other's value is a key to a good marriage. 1 Corinthians 7:3 says, the husband should not deprive his wife of sexual intimacy, nor should the wife deprive her husband. A lot of folks get in an issue with, about this or that, and first thing they want to do, you cut off.
Hmm.
Got a problem with that because some people will just say, look, you don't want to give it to me? I know where I can go get it.
Hmm.
Now what? And then they will prove it to you. And so now the marriage is a complete wreck because there's no more trust that, you said you was committed to me even when we're mad at each other. You still supposed to be my husband and committed to me. But no, you want to prove something to me because I wasn't feeling you. And so you run out there with somebody else. Got an STD and came back and gave it to me. What kind of household we got now? It's a complete hot mess.
Hmm.
Last point. A healthy sex life is a key to a good marriage. Duh.
Hmm.
Okay. So before I go any further, did you want to add something?
Well, there was a lot to break down because, I would prefer to kind of like if you read one, you kind of discuss that one and then move to the second one because for me it's kind of hard to go back to like all
Well, I can
seven
go
of
back.
them. I mean, yeah.
You
Well, then what was the first one again, if you don't
okay?
mind?
Hold on. Let me pull it up again. The first one. Let's
Hmm.
see. Hold on. Let me get back here. Commitment is a key to a good marriage.
Yeah, definitely. Because I mean, if you look at yourself, you want somebody to be committed to you. I'm talking to anybody that's out there, male, female, whatever. You want
Mm.
somebody to be committed to you. Why not be committed to them? If you expect somebody to commit themselves to you wholeheartedly, every bit of their soul, then you should be willing to do the same. If you're not able to, then you might not deserve that person that you're with.
Mm. Yeah, that's it.
Yep. Two. Let's see what
Let me
two
go.
is.
Let me go to two. Hold on. Hold on. Let me pull up so I can see it. Sacrifice is a key to a good marriage.
Oh yeah, definitely.
No?
You got to make sacrifices. I mean,
Okay.
everybody does. Men need to sacrifice for their family. Women need to sacrifice for their family. Uh, Sometimes it's natural. Other times it may take a lot of thought, a lot of prayer. Some things is somebody asks you to do something, give you the shirt off their back. It's not even a second thought to it. It's done. But if somebody says, "Hey, I need a bone marrow transplant. Can you give it to me?" And you're like, uh, that's a bit intrusive right there. But I mean, you know, some people get asked that question. It's not a problem. Other people might, have second thoughts or whatever. But like I said, you sacrifice for those people that you care about and you love. You know,
Well,
sacrifice is very important.
sacrifice is, wide ranging.
Hmm.
There's no limit to what you might have to sacrifice or might be asked to sacrifice for your mate.
Hmm.
But if you don't trust them, it's kind of hard to commit to sacrifice anything for them
Hmm.
because you just feel that they're going to abuse it or abuse you and continue to have their way because it's all about them. Sacrifice can be, bone marrow.
Hmm. Yeah.
It could be, you know, I would say a lung, you
Hmm.
know, a
Yeah.
kidney, something
Hmm.
like that there. Or it could just be, you know, that piece of cheesecake that's been sitting there for 2 days, and you really been eyeballing it.
Mm-hmm.
Like my wife will say, eye Jackie in it. So, okay, you want it, but she wants it. And
Mm-hmm.
so you say, well, look, we can share it. No, I want the whole thing.
Sacrifice.
Okay, you can have it. And not feel bad about it.
Mm-hmm.
Not have, feel some kind of way about it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you can go buy your own, but, maybe that's just not convenient right now. But the point is, you're going to have to make a sacrifice along the way, a
Mm-hmm.
few of them, maybe
Yeah.
a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And so you got to be, and sometimes it may just seem that you're the only one sacrificing. And from the male perspective, that's a part of the commitment.
Mm-hmm.
So what? Get over yourself. You said you love her. You said you'd be there between for thick and thin. That's what you said. You know. Well, I didn't think she'd be such a drama queen, or she would, just abuse and use me. Yeah, but that's what you said. So you want to keep
Mm-hmm.
your word or not?
Mm-hmm.
You know.
And
Uh,
I'll say too, like, the word says, be a cheerful giver. I mean, if you give something to somebody, if you sacrifice for somebody, but you're complaining about it, was it really a sacrifice? If you're gonna make them miserable, for the gift that you gave them, I mean, that's not really beneficial to the relationship either.
right. And I'm not saying you get in a relationship and you're so committed to it that you just continue to let yourself be abused and used.
Hmm.
That's why you have the first thing I said, have a commitment or relationship with God. Because you can pray on it day in and day out. Lord, fix me, fix her, fix this.
Hmm.
And he'll let you know. Say, look, well, this one ain't going to work for you. I, you know, she started out doing the right thing and then she flipped. She's got free will.
Hmm.
All right, so I'll work it out for you. She'll be gone and, you know, we'll find somebody else for you. you
But
know,
I mean, we had
that's,
a show in the past talking about the questions that need to be asked before marriage,
mhm.
and I think a lot of men and women should look that over because if you do that, if you do that beforehand, then it shouldn't be a factor in the marriage because you know or you have a higher probability of being successful in your marriage. Like you're not going to agree on everything, but at least you'll have the foundation to say, okay, well, I know her heart and her mind is in a great place, and this will pass. You know what I'm saying? If it's an argument, disagreement, whatever, it'll pass. It happens.
Yeah, but people do make mistakes.
Hmm.
They say, yeah, I'm not gonna cheat on you, and then they do. And
Hmm.
then you look and you say, well, I thought you said you weren't gonna cheat on me. I asked you that before we got married.
Hmm.
Oh, oh, oh.
Yeah. Hmm.
Now, if that shoe's on the other foot, how would you feel?
Hmm.
You know, and I'm going to make you feel even worse because I'm not going to put that shoe on the other foot. I'm going to let you live with what you did.
Hmm.
And so now, as the other person, you're sitting there saying, well, this person loves me enough to forgive me and to not throw it in my face every chance they got. And I decided to make amends, to do the right thing, to regain their trust. That's what you want. I mean, you don't want the issue in the first place,
Yeah.
but you want them to, to understand that, yo, listen, what you did hurt.
Hmm.
Now, from the man's perspective, and this is what, a lot of folks in society will say, well, men will cheat. And that happens because it's not emotional. It's just a physical thing. It doesn't make it right because when you get caught, it's like, oh, she's emotional about it. And that runs deep, way deeper than the fact that, well, yeah, it was just a thing we did that. Yeah, whatever. No big deal. I didn't even like her.
Hmm.
Yeah, that's good justification.
Hmm.
you Listen, don't repeat that because that ain't going to help you.
Yeah.
And
Start digging
so,
that grave right now.
right. Don't say that because that ain't gonna help. I always talk about the Maury show, and because I watched that, and you had these brothers up there, they'd be, oh, she didn't mean anything to me, but that shoe's on the other foot. She cheated. You got a problem
It means a lot.
because she cheated and it was emotional. You know that. You know, you could gloss over what you did because I didn't even like her. But then when she do it, because she liked them.
Mm-hmm.
Now you like him more than you like me? I'll never know
Mm-hmm.
because you just demonstrated that you can find somebody who you like better than me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So the best thing to do is, try to keep your pants up, keep it in your pants, and when you get home, let her take care of it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yep.
And if she don't want to take care of it, now we have a different conversation.
Yep.
A different conversation.
Mm-hmm.
All right, let me get back to the last few points here. Oh, we're still with you.
Mm-hmm.
Understanding each other's differences and celebrating them. Comments on that?
Yeah. Like I said, it goes to knowing the person that you're with. If you and the person that you're with feel like you're strangers, then you have an obligation to find out more about them. You know what I'm saying? The differences that make them different than you, you know. I mean, you don't necessarily have to, you know, take them on yourself, but you can say, hey, I respect that. You like to do pottery, you like to make art and write poems and stuff like that. I don't have that skill, but you know what? Your stuff, I read it, I look at it, it looks good. It's very great. Support.
Right. Even if they're lousy at it, but they like it.
It's better than what I do. So, hey,
You got to understand and you
mhm,
accept that. I
yeah,
don't do that, but
hmm
that's what you do and whatever. And when the shoe's on the other foot, yeah, you want to be encouraging. You said because you like it, or whatever. And some people take on task or whatever just because it's a task. You know, they may want to do well at it, and they may not be able to, but they're interested in it, and they want to keep trying until they figure out
right.
that it ain't going to work.
hmm
And so you still have to be kind of supportive and understanding. I'm not you want to be encouraging, but if it's not working, you may want to encourage them to do something else,
hmm
show some of your other skills or something like that there. But you got to work on it.
hmm
So okay. The next item was mutual submission, which is always an issue, a big issue in a
Yeah.
relationship because if I'm mad at you, why would I want to do anything that you would want me to do?
Well, I think that's an issue because a lot of people don't think about it. If it's never crossed your mind about being submissive to your mate, male, female, whatever, then when the opportunity presents itself, you're not in a state of mind to capitalize on that or take advantage of it because you're like, well, nobody's ever mentioned it to me, about being submitted. Like that might be tough for me, but if I know that this is what my job is, then now I can do it because I know that this is part of being in this relationship. But if you're not aware of that, then you're like, well, that's on her, or that's on him, ain't my, it don't float my boat, you
Well,
know.
there's some things that come up on a regular.
hmm
Like okay, we had an issue. I wanted you to do something and you didn't want to do it. Whatever. I want to watch this show and you want to watch that show and we don't have TiVo. Okay, so that's a problem.
hmm hmm
And so later on that evening, it's time for dinner. Well, what we have for dinner? I don't know what you having.
I already ate.
Yeah, I don't know what you having because I ain't cooking. It's
hmm
like, wait a minute now. We got our roles, maybe sometime I cook and sometime you cook. It's your turn. No, you made me mad, hurt my feelings, pissed me off. I ain't doing nothing for you.
hmm
That's not how it's supposed to work, you know. On the one hand, and because if you're the one that's upset at them, and you just say, well, now Not only am I upset with you, I'm going to punish you.
Mhm.
There lies the problem.
Mhm.
You punishing, you done made a judgment that they're wrong, dead wrong, and wrong. And so it's now your job to punish them.
Mhm.
Okay? Got a relationship with God. Say, God, fix that person. Straighten them out. We can't do anything about what's already been done,
Mhm.
but we can fix them so it don't happen again.
Mhm.
Okay? That's a better approach than, well, you pissed me off, you made me mad or whatever, and I'm gonna fix you myself because I ain't feeding you.
Mhm.
We ain't having sex. We ain't even speaking. So now I got something important to say to you, and I need an earnest response, and you ain't speak. I ain't speaking to you. No. Don't talk to me. Don't say I. Really?
Mhm.
Okay. Next item. Let me get to it. I think we probably covered them all. Love is a key. So comment there.
Love is it encompasses everything. I mean, if you love this person, and I say if because some people say it, but they not. It's just something that they say, you know. But when you actually love somebody, things come less problematic. You know, I mean, a problem is not a problem. You know, it's like,
Hmm.
okay, yeah, that might be a problem, but it's a small problem because you are me. You know, when I look at you as my woman, you are me. And I want myself to have the best and have everything that I want. So when you ask me for something, it's not a problem. Even
Hmm.
if it is a problem, it's not a problem
Hmm.
because I'm going to do what I can. Now, if you see me struggling to get it and you say, well, I see you working towards it and it just doesn't like it's gonna happen. It's okay, baby. You know, like maybe next time, whatever. But me wanting to have the best of everything and want to be able to give myself the best of everything. When I look at you and you ask me something, then that should be my motivation because my love for you should be the same love that I have for myself.
Well, that, and there's some other areas there because sometimes you can't do what was asked of you.
Hmm.
You just can't do it. And should that take away from how you feel about me? If it does, then that says something about you.
Hmm.
Um, but you know, understanding is also is very important. You know, because when that shoe's on the other foot, you don't want to hear it.
Hmm.
Oh, yeah. Well, it's not my fault. It's everybody else's fault.
Hmm.
Really? Well, hopefully I would have found that out before I married you.
Yeah.
That's the kind of person you are. But obviously I missed that. Communications is key, and that's what we're talking about: being
Oh,
able to
yeah.
communicate. Being
Yeah.
able to open up and to talk and to be vulnerable. To say, look, I can't do that.
Hmm.
I can't do that. I want to do it. I can't do it, or I can't do it right now.
Hmm.
You know, I'm not going to forget it, or feel free to keep reminding me of it at
Hmm.
this particular moment. I can't do it. Or at this particular moment, I'm in a different place and I don't want to do it. But
Hmm.
let me think about it. You know, let me figure my head out and see if I can work it out at some other time.
Hmm.
You know, and sometimes sometimes you have that kind of day. You
Yeah.
know, nothing's going right, or I don't feel it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Today's not a good day. Maybe
right,
tomorrow. You
right.
know,
Maybe tomorrow.
but
Yeah, let me.
that's where communication comes in at because as if I don't tell you what I'm thinking, then you're just wondering, you got whatever going on in your head. Well, he's probably don't want to do it because he mad about, this, that, and the other, or he, just angry with me or whatever. And it's like, nah, I just got, some bad news at the job or whatever, or, my mom's sick or something like that. Like my mind's in a different headspace right now. I can't focus on what you asking me for right now. But if I tell you, now you can at least understand that the problem's not you. It's a couple of other things, but as soon as that gets sorted out, then I'm back on my game. I'm doing what you need me to do.
Yeah,
But
give me a minute. Let me think about it.
hmm.
Whatever it is. You want to be honest. And you want to be forthcoming, and you want to be willing to sacrifice
Mm-hmm.
to make them happy.
Yeah.
And so we've covered all of the things that I think we could cover in this short period of time. Did you want to add anything before you make your announcement?
So, I mean, I just hope that this, reaches, the people that need to reach and understand it, because, like I said, the more people that benefit from the shows that we do, the better. I
Uh,
mean, that's the whole point of this show, is to hopefully influence people to have a better life, with their significant other, their wife, their kids, and just wish them the best.
Yeah, and we didn't talk much about children, but pretty much the same thinking, is the same commitment for your children.
Hmm.
We have a lot of folks that who run out there and make babies, and I take care of all my kids' lives. Well, you got one child on First Street, one child on Second Street, one on Third Street, one on Fourth Street. You can't be on all four streets at the same time. You know, you can't even tell me that you spend enough time on any street with a child because you're not there. You
Hmm.
part time. You know? And I'm not going to be hypocritical, but the point is that a lot of us fall short. And but once we learn where the error is, it's upon us to work towards, making sure that we do what we commit to do. You say, look, you have a baby out of wedlock or whatever, so I want to be in the kid's life. You got to work that out. You know,
Hmm.
a lot of folks fall short there. They like, I got to go see my son over on Second Street and the baby mama there. And you get all tied up with the baby mama, and now there's a son and a daughter. And so now you go on to Second Street twice a day instead of once a day as a part-time father.
Hmm.
You got to figure this out before you actually do it. You can't wait till you do it and then try to figure it out. Um, you have these children. These children, they don't have a father in their life. They're gonna have some challenges that they may not be able to overcome. You
Hmm.
know, some of them overcome them. God bless them.
Hmm.
They be able to deal with it. But at the end of the day, they still say, "Well, I don't really understand what a father's role is because I've never seen it before."
Yeah.
I could read about it in a book, but that's somebody else's story. That's not my story.
Hmm.
You know, I had certain expectations. I've heard certain things from my friends. I've seen certain things from other people. And how come I didn't get that?
Hmm.
Because what? You and the mother made a decision about you and the mother and not about the child. The child didn't ask to get here.
Hmm.
You made it, you brought it here. You know? Um, and we had this conversation all day long about a man telling a woman, "Oh, I love you." Then you got pregnant. Oh yeah, that tells you something right there. Yeah. Oh, well, congratulations. Who's the daddy? you know,
Hmm.
you. Oh no,
Hmm.
it ain't me. No, that wasn't me. So okay, so yeah, we needed a DNA test to make sure that it was me. Okay, because I know you just a hoe,
Hmm.
but I was with you,
Hmm.
and when I was with you, you wasn't a hoe.
Hmm.
Because I don't run around with hoes. It's that backwards logic that we have. Yeah.
Hmm.
And so, all right, now you got the DNA. Now you got to do what you got to do. Oh, I'm going to step up. I'm going to step up and do what? You going to be there, or you going to send a check?
Hmm.
I mean, you have your options. You do what you do, but the reality is that it's not just about you now.
Hmm.
It's about the child. And the child shouldn't have to suffer because you did something that you really weren't prepared to follow through with.
Hmm.
So anyway, make your announcement so we can get up out of here.
All
And
right. All right. Well, we would like to extend the opportunity for people to make suggestions for any topics they would like us to discuss. If you want to be a panelist on the show, also send us a comment as well. And we look forward to seeing y'all here again.
All right. And that'll end this episode. And we will see you next week, God willing, and the creek don't rise.
And the creek don't rise.
Amen.